What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Schneid. It's Saturday, lazy afternoon. Figured I'd come on and let's rip some drafts, get caught up. If you see the ticker at the bottom, if you're just popping in or you're watching it after the fact, 467 of 500. We get to 500 before the NFL draft. We will do a 12-hour live stream. So hit that subscribe button for me. Smack the like button, and your team will win the division that your team resides in. But other than that, we're just going to jump in and rip some drafts. We're just going to talk through it as we go. Let's get into a big board. Let's make it happen. Waiting on 4. So if you're in the chat, you want to draft, jump in and let's make it happen. Let's talk through some stuff. Not a lot going on, obviously, right now. It's a little bit of a lull season. Looks like Kirk Cousins is going to stay with the Falcons, I guess. That's shocking to me. I thought that maybe the Jets did make a play for him. That was my pick, with the Rick Spielman. Waiting on 2 if you're just popping in, waiting on 1. But with the Rick Spielman connection with the Jets and Kirk Cousins, I thought that would be a perfect landing spot. Looks like they're going to pay him. The deadline is basically today at which we kind of knew. It's today at 4 p.m. Eastern, so in about an hour, unless a trade materializes in an hour, which I very much highly doubt will happen. It's a $10 million hit roster bonus at 4 p.m. today. So Kirk Cousins is going to be the highest paid backup in the NFL unless they just want to eat that money. Regardless, there's a lot of dead money there either way. So they're going to have to eat some, again, regardless. But you could have saved a lot of money. I don't know. It is what it is. A couple in the chat, most likely. We got Lolsimo. And then Kramer 222 is probably in, I would imagine. If you are, let me know. If not, it's all good. Maybe you just popped in a draft and I'm in there. So either way, yeah, I'm shocked. I'm very surprised with this Kirk Cousins situation. So whatever, it is what it is. They want to waste some money. Kramer's in. Appreciate you. They want to spend the money again. Either they eat it now, they eat it later, whatever. They're still eating a whole ton of dead cap money. So I'm not 100% sure it really matters. Like, obviously that's a good amount of money that they could have saved, but I don't know. They just want security at the quarterback position, I guess. So I guess they're keeping Kirk Cousins. Choking on my water a little bit. Little Samo is in. Perfect. Appreciate you guys coming out. Man. Choking on my water a little bit. Oh. So I said it the other day in the last stream. I want to be top 6. It's just the easiest clicks on the board. You just take who's available. I mean, you can make a decision at like 3, 4, whatever, but top 6 is just easy peasy. It's pretty set in stone. It's pretty easy. Just click who's there. Being 6th, 5th, or 6th is even easier because it's obviously your choices are limited. It's narrowed down. So you can just kind of click who's there and it's easy. And it's like, those are the top 6. They pretty much go that way every single time. Easy peasy, click your guy, take it from there. This is where it kind of gets a little bit interesting. I want to be, obviously for me, I want to be higher on Brian Thomas Jr. and Amon-Ra St. Brown over Malik Neighbors for sure. So I want to be close on both Amon-Ra and Brian Thomas Jr. So let's get Brian Thomas here. I want to be really close, and it looks like he might jump Amon-Ra, which is kind of criminal. Amon-Ra is super underrated this year, realistically. Like that's value, in my opinion. Green Beans in the chat. I'm doing well. How about yourself? I'm looking after a golden retriever puppy right now, and it is a lot of work, man. Buddy of mine is gone for about a week, looking after her for about a week. She's 4 months old. It's a lot. It confirms that I'm not getting a dog, at least not that size. That's for sure. It's a lot of work. So I'm doing well, but man, it's tiring. A little tuckered out. Omega, appreciate you. GM. Enter the one before this one. There you go. There you go. The underlay, not the overlay draft. But appreciate you coming in the chat either way. I agree. Face spot is 500%, man. It's just easy. Like 5 or 6 is the easiest because again, you're just take who's available, take who's left. Easy clicks. Even though your exposures, whatever. But it's just super easy. Amon-Ra St. Brown is so underrated. Just got him 11. Yeah, man, or 11 or 12. But yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of criminal how low he's going. Honestly, it's just the easiest click. Like realistically, after the top 6, I could certainly make an argument for Amon-Ra over Puka. It's close, but give me Amon-Ra over Nico. Give me, a Brian Thomas and Amon-Ra. I want to even out that exposure. I'm okay with bringing up Drake London there. That's not the worst. Malik Neighbors bringing up Ladd. That's a decent idea. You got to get unique at the back end. That's where you got to do it. We kind of talk about it a fair amount. Do I want to go HN here? Yeah, I want to even out my exposures with these running backs, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, Achan. I want to even out my exposures. So let's just go with Achan there. Make it easy. Although I am very, very concerned about the offensive line for the Dolphins. They did just bring in a guard. I can't remember off the top of my head. They did just bring in a guard, though, which is encouraging. Who was it? Can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe we'll just take a quick peek. Let's just take a look at our lads. I might do an episode where we kind of blow through the depth charts of each team and just take a look and see if we can find some value. James Daniels, that's who it is. They brought in James Daniels, brought back Liam Eichenberg. So that's actually encouraging as long as Patrick Paul is that guy. They do have Jackson Carman there, former Bengal, who can get the job done in a pinch. Aaron Brewer's still there. Actually, their offensive line is not in the worst spot ever. Bringing back Eichenberg, bringing in James Daniels, they're serviceable. And then Carman, you can kind of move around as long as, Patrick Paul, because it sounds likely that Teron Armstead is going to, retire most likely. But either way, if he's on the fence like that, that's not something that I like to hear. So Patrick Paul is going to be the guy that really, second year guy, 6'7", 330, second round pick, should be a tackle. He's going to be what that offensive line kind of hinges on. And we'll see who they draft. I think the Dolphins do draft a running back. A guy that would make a lot of sense is University of Miami running back, Damian Martinez. I think that would make just an absolute ton of sense for that offense. And you can have Achan and a guy like Martinez on the field at the same time with Achan in the slot. Like, how often did we see Achan line up in the slot, especially on the goal line? And then he'd just run these quick slants and just catch a quick pass from Tua, boom, fall in the end zone for a 2-yard touchdown. It was a thing of beauty if you're an Achan owner, DFS, season long, anything really, right? So, and then you could have Damian Martinez in the backfield and just let Tua make the read. Right? Like if it's there, hand it off. If not, quick slant, boom, touchdown. There you go. So yeah, that's what I think the Dolphins could be looking after, but they're still going to have to address that offensive line a little bit, bring in probably a tackle in the draft, maybe first round even. That's not the worst idea. If I'm the Dolphins, they had a ton of holes. Their defense is not going to be very good. This is kind of why I like the Dolphins. Like about a month ago, I was talking about this, how I like the Dolphins. I like the offense. I think that's a team that we can get a lot of value out of because their defense is going to be garbage. So just lean in on your offense being good. Kind of what my Bengals have to do too. Bring back T. Higgins, sign Jamar Chase, do what you can on the offensive line, right? Maybe draft another running back. We'll see. But just make your offense really good. And then don't worry too much about the defense, right? Like just try to win games 30-27, like the Bengals did last year. So that's kind of what I see the Dolphins doing. So if I'm the Dolphins, just go ahead, work on your offensive line, work on your offense, and, just try to outscore teams, just a track meet essentially, and see if you can win games that way. Brees Hall definitely would have been the click there. This is such an odd point in the draft. Unless, I don't know. It's just an odd spot in the draft. So what do I want to do? Like, I guess Josh Allen makes some sense with HN. That could work as far as, a playoff week matchup. Let's just do that. Let's do that. A lot of options for Buffalo. So let's bring them in. Kramer, what's your thoughts on two players from the same team in the first two rounds, like Tyreek Achane or Bijan London? I don't mind the Tyreek Achane for kind of what we just talked about with Achane lining up the slot a lot. I don't think it's off the table at all that Tyreek is traded. I think that right now it's kind of quiet, but we could see that start to develop a little bit more as the offseason goes on throughout the summer. We'll see. I don't think it's off the table. I still think it's something that we should be monitoring. It's hard to say if it happens, but yeah, I don't think it's off the table. I'm not drafting like he's not a Dolphin. Like if I'm drafting Tyreek and Waddle, I'm trying to bring in Tua, right? Like I'm not drafting like he's not on this team, but I don't think it's completely off the table. I mean, I would rather do the Achane Tyreek than the Bijan London for obvious reasons, even though Bijan does catch a lot of passes. I think it's completely fine. And it's even more fine to then not bring in the quarterback, right? Obviously. So you're just banking on the offense, which it's fine to do, like we just talked about with the Miami Dolphins, right? So just take that running back and wide receiver. They're going to not necessarily eat into each other. Like it's a lot more difficult to take like Tyreek and Waddle, London and let's say Mooney without the quarterback, right? You don't want to do that as much. It's still okay if it happens and you get sniped. It is what it is. But I would rather go with an option like this and then not bring in the quarterback, right? So you're just banking on that offense, especially a team like the Rams is one that I would use as an example. Like Matt Stafford is not like somebody you desperately want to own. I don't think, even if, you have, unless you have Puka and Devontae, then it's like, okay, I should definitely be bringing in Matt Stafford. But if it's, we'll make this pick here, and I guess I'll take James Cook. I don't really like too much. I'm worried about his contract situation bleeding into the summer, but we'll come back to this comment in a second here. James Cook goes, okay, I'm fine with that. It's definitely not the end of the world. Not taking Jaden Daniels. I don't have Devontae paired up. I mean, Xavier Worthy is just the click for me here. I really don't think there's anything to see there with that arrest, so I'm not too worried about it at all. So let's just click Worthy. But yeah, a team like the Rams where it's like Puka and Kyron Williams, right? Like that is perfectly fine for me because I know that that's going to be a really good offense. You're getting the number one target and you're getting a high caliber sort of running back. I would even bring in, again, we talked about this a couple weeks ago or last week, whatever it was, where I'm bringing in Kyron Williams. I'm very, very, very likely to bring in Blake Corum with him. So in this example, if I'm doing Puka and Kyron Williams, I'm probably still bringing in Blake Corum as well. So yeah, it depends on the team, depends on the offense, depends on the defense, depends on the offensive line, depends on the coach. There's a lot of factors that I look at when I'm doing situations like this. And the Rams are like the poster child for that example. The Bengals were last year and the Bengals could be this year too. Jamar Chase with Chase Brown. That makes perfect sense too. And not bringing in Joe Burrow, though you also could, again, with both of these examples, even with the Rams and the Bengals, you could not. And I would mix in both of those kind of, exposures. I would get exposure to both of those situations. Who Hames, what's happening? How are you? Appreciate you coming out, man. Kelly, I think this is the first time I've seen you in other chats, but I think this is the first time I've seen you in my chat. So appreciate you coming in. They definitely do not play well in cold weather. That is no secret. And to be honest, like I don't really care about that. You're not wrong whatsoever. I agree, but I don't really care. Like I'm still drafting these guys for the playoffs. It is what it is. And especially right now where we don't know, let's say they're playing at home twice in the fantasy football playoffs, and then they go on the road and play like Houston or something. You know what I mean? I'm not concerned. Or even like Tennessee, right? Places like that where it's an AFC team either in a dome or in some more warm weather, then I'm not going to plan for it. I might worry about it in Best Ball Mania season, but right now I'm not too concerned. But you're not wrong. That's definitely true. Depends on the team. Do they have ceiling games? Exactly. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, like it depends on. There's a lot of factors that I look at when I'm talking about just like banking on the offense and things that people might not think about. Like I said, the offensive coordinator, the head coach, the offensive line, the defense. How bad is this defense going to be? That's why I was really, really high on Bengals last year, because I knew the defense was going to be garbage, straight hot garbage. So I was banking on Bengals because they're going to score a lot of points, is the way I was looking at it. Turns out I was right. I know that team very, very, very well. So it's a little easier for me to, look at the Bengals and decide how I'm going to look at that team. This year's not too different for the Bengals realistically. So yeah, that's kind of how I look at it and suss it out. So like, if Waddle's here right now, that's not the worst direction to go, where I know I'm going to bring back Buffalo Bills and then just hope it's a Miami Bills game. In this instance, hopefully it's in Miami in the playoffs where you kind of need it. And I think that's what I'm going to do. It makes the most sense realistically. Hopefully I'll have a running back option. Even, I don't really particularly love to use Achane as like an anchor RB. So yeah, we'll kind of see what plays out for the rest of the draft. But I think this makes a lot of sense. And now I really don't have to bring in Tua at all. And I probably won't. But I'm banking on that Miami offense, and I'm getting two pieces like we kind of literally have been talking about so far this whole episode. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Disbanded, engage in the AI. Appreciate you coming out. Appreciate you. I agree, but I think Bijan London is going to be pretty rare, so I don't hate it. Yeah, you're not wrong either there for sure. If you can get it, that's the difficult thing. So yeah, if you can get it, absolutely. Bijan's usually a top 3 pick, right? And Drake London goes at the back end right around here. So if you can ever make it work, absolutely. I mean, it'd be hard to make it happen. So especially now, like unless Bijan falls to like 5 for some reason, and then Drake London falls to like 20 for some reason. But those are both some falling Falcons, which I don't think that's going to happen too often. If it does, yeah, snap, easy clicks, no problem. If you have some of those shares from earlier in Best Ball Mania season and you had it happen, then hell yeah, that's unique. That is very, very unique. And that would be really nice to have. So don't disagree with that whatsoever. What do I want to do here? Either kind of having a conversation on Twitter today about this running back range. I actually like it. Like Kamara, Walker, Judkins included in this range. There's, I'm happy with Walker for sure. I'm about 30% and I want to stay there. Judkins, I absolutely love. That's a bit of a pull up, but that's completely fine. Especially if you want to get the exposure, that's totally fine to do. And then Henderson, obviously I'm very high on. Montgomery, I want to have enough of. So what do I do in this situation? I mean, I don't really love using Achane as an anchor, but I'm going to bring in Jennings here because I do want a little bit more. He's not paired up with a lot of my guys, so I don't mind that. Montgomery would have been an okay click as well. Henderson, yeah, would have been fine, but I have a lot of exposure to him, especially with this type of a lineup. So let's bring in Jennings. And then I'm going to have to catch up at running back because I really don't like to fall behind at running back anymore at all. There used to be a lot of value, in my opinion, at the end of drafts, especially with a lot of these rookies. But now, obviously, since the combine, everyone's risen. And that value, that late round running back value for me is kind of completely dried up. So I want to be done early. I want to be done running back early. You can easily, I've been saying this a lot for the past like 2 weeks, you can easily catch up at wide receiver and tight end. Very, 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 very easily you can catch up. So I'm not worried about those two positions whatsoever. But running back, it's a little bit more difficult in my opinion. I have one team with Bijan at 5 and London at 20. Yeah, that would be sweet. I would love to get some exposure to that. I don't think I do. Let me just pull up Spike Week just for fun to see if for some reason I was able to get that. But if you can, absolutely smash it just because it is unique and you're banking on a very good offense. They just lost their center, which is tough, a lot tougher than people like to think, or maybe they just aren't sure, but it's really, really tough for an offense to lose a really good center. They just lost Drew Dahlman to Chicago, which, for me, I think Chicago is going to be an absolute like wagon this year. I'm really, I threw a bet on them to win the division already, and it's gone up since I did. I don't have that combination. I wish I did, because that's a really nice, fall in value and unique pairing. Same, almost 10% of all of these guys. Probably talking about the running backs, I think that, that's a good range for me. Like, I'm not a huge Kamara drafter. Like, I'll take him if he falls, which he falls a lot. So I have about 6%, roughly 6 or 7%. So I'm definitely clicking him if he kind of falls into my lap, or if it makes a ton of sense, or if he's like my first running back, that's for sure. Then I'll take him. So I have about like 6-7% Kamara. I'm out on James Conner personally, and I'm really in on Trey Benson. So I'm not clicking him at all, really. David Montgomery seems to fall, and it's hard to just, not write in Sharpie 10 total touchdowns, 1,000 total yards for David Montgomery. So I'm kind of banking on that, and I think it's okay to do that. And then Trevion Henderson, you guys know how much I love him. Judkin's definitely a riser. I think it's a good possibility that he ends up on the Bears for where they pick and where he's kind of projected to go, unless they take Genty, which I don't think they do. Maybe they do, but I don't think they will. They have met with him. So we'll see. They have met with Hampton as well. They could just take Hampton. We'll see. But the Bears are going to be a good team. Regardless, the Bears, I got them at 7.5 to 1, 7.5 to 1 to win that division. It's already up to 5 to 1 now. So I've already gotten a ton of value on that. As soon as they signed Drew Dahlman and Grady Jarrett, I snapped up that value. I think they have a very, very good shot to win that division. Very good shot. I definitely would have taken Najee. Where did Najee go? 73. That's right where he needs to go. I would have taken him for sure. Let's just see who falls to us on the wraparound. Let's take Ibuka. I have a ton of them, but not a ton with this build. So let's get him Emeka Ibuka. He's my guy. I definitely like him. Let's take him there, and let's see who falls to us on the wrap. Trevion Henderson, highest drafted RB, 27%. You know how much I love that. I'm in on that for sure. I'm 27% overall and 25% in the big board. So I'm right there with you. Trevion's my guy. If you watch the show, you know that. I have him ranked number 1. I don't care what anyone says. He's my number 1 rookie running back. Yes, over Ashton Genty. I don't care what anyone says. He's my guy. And I'm not getting bullied into agreeing with the consensus. It's not happening. Najee went 5'11" here. That might be a little aggressive. Yeah, that's a little aggressive for me. Definitely a little aggressive for me. I still think, is it? I don't know. If you really like them and you want them, I can't exactly argue it, really. Like, I'm taking them ahead of Warren, Tracy, Caleb, Aaron Jones, James Conner, probably over David Montgomery. So really, 60s. Like I was saying 70s before, which is where he's kind of been going. But if you take him in the 60s, I'm kind of fine with that, really. Like, it does make sense, especially if you really want him. They just signed Mekhi Becton too, which is a huge get for that offensive line. So I don't despise it. I don't hate it. Even at the 5'11", even at 59, like in the 50s, I don't despise it. It's a little heavy for me, but I'm happy with my exposure. My average draft position for Najee, and it's obviously gone down since he was risen, 105. So, and 18% overall, 18% in the big board, 105 is my average ADP for Najee. That's just music to my ears. Love to see it. Love to see it. I'm going to take Tony Pollard. I don't know why he's not rising. I think he should be. That offensive line is in a much better position. Plus, with Brian Callahan still there, and Pollard's going to be the guy. They could draft a running back with their first pick in the second round, but there's just so many more holes on that Tennessee Titans team and offense that it just doesn't make sense for me. So I think they just roll out Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears again, and maybe draft a late round running back. But I think it's Tony Pollard's backfield. So I'm pretty in on Pollard this year, especially when I need it in this sort of zero RB, anchor RB type texture. I'm Quinshon Henderson. That's fine. That's fine. Like, I'm not going to say you're wrong. It's just, I have a different opinion, which is totally fine. Totally fine. He's very impressed with the Chargers training facility. I would imagine he is, and I'm sure he's impressed with that offensive line. That's for damn sure. He's gonna be a guy, like, unless injury creeps up, which, knock on wood, hopefully doesn't happen. I don't think anyone wants to see that. So yeah, I can't disagree with taking him, right around here. Like 200 fantasy points is, in a vacuum. Fuck, give me Najee over Chuba, really. Like, it's a much better team. They're going to be able to run the ball more than the Panthers. So, like, give me Najee over Joe Mixon, no question. And if you watch the show, I hate Joe Mixon, but like, no question, in a vacuum, just give me Najee over Joe Mixon, no question in the world. I have 0% Joe Mixon, and I'm not clicking him unless he falls to like the late 60s or something like that. Maybe I would click him. But yeah, give me Najee over Joe Mixon. So really, like, value him where you want to value him. Like, I don't really think it's anywhere is particularly too high to take Najee. If Joe Mixon's going at pick 51, what's his ADP right now? 49 is Joe Mixon's ADP. Like, give me Najee Harris over Joe Mixon, no question. So I don't know. It's an interesting one with Najee. I don't think it's like a bad click anywhere, realistically. I really don't. Yeah, that's kind of my opinion there. But I was kind of hoping, wish casting that Patrick Mahomes would fall to me, like really push him, just aggressively push him. That's the only way I'm taking him. If Josh Allen, like, obviously this was a fall at 88. That's good value on Najee, or on the Patrick Mahomes, sorry. So I could have taken him there, but I don't need him with Josh Allen at all. So I'd rather like try to extreme push. If he was there at 105, yeah, auto click for sure, no question. But I don't need to even take him at a value. I would want to extreme push him with Josh Allen. So not a big deal that he's not there. I really don't care about getting Patrick Mahomes. I would like to not fall too much further behind at running back, but not the end of the world. I don't really want to take Purdy with just Jennings, though it's not a bad click. I just don't think it matters with Josh Allen. I can afford to be kind of patient there. Yeah. I've got some backdoor options. I could still take Tua too, if I kind of have to, but it really doesn't matter. Like, I don't need to take Tua at all, like we kind of talked about earlier. It's going to be Zach Charbonnet here for sure. That's who I wanted. It was Charbonnet or Brian Robinson. So let's take Zach Charbonnet. Catch up a little bit at running back. I just love the Seattle running backs. They desperately need. I thought Mekhi Becton had to go there. I really don't know why. The Seahawks didn't make a major play for Mekhi Becton. That doesn't make any sense in the world. I think Gray Zabel is on the table for the Seahawks to draft in the first round. I think that's an auto click for them, really. Considering his flexibility, he can play anywhere in the interior. They obviously have to, bolster that interior of the offensive line. There's still some value out there in free agency, but Mekhi Becton was the guy. I don't know why they didn't just go after him and plug him into the right side of their offensive line. Then you only have to worry about left guard and center. Draft Gray Zabel. He fills one of those holes. And then, I don't know, figure it out in free agency, or, draft a couple of other guys that you can kind of pull up. Mixon's O-line is so much worse too. Yeah, man. Like the Chargers offensive line is extremely good, extremely dangerous, especially in the run game. So Najee could absolutely have a career season this year. No question. He could have a massive, massive year. So I think it's worth clicking him, kind of like I said, wherever you want, really. So let's take Coleman here. Makes tons of sense to pair him up with Allen right at ADP. Yeah, let's make that happen. And then, trading Tunsil. Supposedly the offensive line in Houston was a cancer, but which I could see and understand that they want to kind of turn it over and move on from some guys. And it's a good way to go about it, but you still have to be competitive. So, and Joe Mixon has taken a ton of pounding. Like, there's not a lot of tread left on those tires realistically. And he's been just so inefficient his entire career. Like, I've been saying it for literally years and years. I have never liked Joe Mixon. I was high on him as a rookie, very high on him as a rookie. I was high on him going into his second season with my Bengals. And then he just showed me who he is. And he's been that his entire career. And for some reason, everybody likes him. I don't know why. Look at his metrics, look at his efficiency, look at his yards per carry. He's played on fantastic offenses and he gets volume, which is key. That's all we care about when we're talking about fantasy football. But like, the inefficiency has to catch up with him at some point. And I don't know if that's this season, but we'll see. I've never been a Joe Mixon fan since, again, his second season. About halfway through his second season, it was just like, hey, I'm out on this guy. Considering I watch every single Bengals game, that was my opinion on Joe Mixon about halfway through his sophomore season. So anyways, but yeah, give me Najee over Joe Mixon. Absolutely, give me Najee over Joe Mixon. So yeah, I kind of like how this team is getting, coming together, but I don't love falling as behind as I kind of have at running back. So we'll see. I'm going to have to. The good thing is, the good news is I don't have to worry about quarterback with Josh Allen. So I can push that kind of as far as I want or need to. And I'm not really concerned about it at all. So, and I'm probably only taking 2 quarterbacks. So that keeps the door open for just throwing some volume at my running back room and taking 7. But we'll see. We'll see how this shakes out the rest of the draft. But that's definitely something that's on the table. And then my wide receiver room is pretty strong. BTJ, Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Juwan Jennings, Emeka Ibuka, Keon Coleman. The wide receiver room is pretty strong. Kincaid gets pulled up a little bit. That definitely would have been my click there. Not sure why you need to pull up Dalton Kincaid when you have Shakir already. Pulled up Shakir a little bit. Take Kincaid. I guess you can, focus on that offense. Sure. Just a bunch of unstackedness going on. Interesting build. Diggs, what if he goes back to Buffalo? Not very likely at all, but interesting kind of a build. This is an interesting range of wide receiver too. Like, I'm 28% Trey Harris in the big board, 26% overall. He's probably my highest owned wide receiver. And it's because of this range. Like, that's going to be my click every time around here. I'll get some Leggett, which I have. I'll get a bunch of Johnston, who goes kind of in a different range. Let's just take Trevor Lawrence here and pair him up with BTJ. Make it easy. This guy's doesn't have any quarterback. So with him being the next guy on the board, being badgeless, I'm just going to, get my stack and wrap it up, and then I'm done. So being badgeless, you never know what this guy's doing. Doesn't look like he's, he has ETN as well, so he could go Lawrence. I just don't want to take the risk. So let's just get our quarterback, close it off. I'm done at quarterback. Let's move on. Makes it easy. Makes it easy. Ben, what's happening? What's going on? Appreciate you coming in. If you're just popping in the chat, hit the like button if you don't mind. And then the ticker at the bottom, we're 467 subs. So we're 33 away from 500, our 500 subscriber goal. If we get it by the NFL draft, we're going to do a 12-hour straight live stream. All the friends and family from the YouTube community, all the fun guests. It'll be a good time. And hopefully there's some big boards to draft still. So as long as we get it by then, which I'm confident we will. We're kind of doing well right now. The stream's doing really well. I'll say that. I appreciate it goes to all of you guys in the chat. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming in and pushing the channel. I think I just have to go running back. I kind of want to go likely here. I think it's very on the table that Mark Andrews isn't back with this team, but let's bring in Trey Benson. He's kind of my favorite click around here when it's just a whole bunch of, secondary backup, handcuff, have a little bit of their own role type of running backs like Tajay, Dowdle, Rashad White. I think the injury upside for Trey Benson is higher than any of these guys realistically. And obviously I'm not going Jalen Wright here. Jerome Ford is the guy that kind of could still be the starter here in Cleveland. We'll see what they end up doing in the draft, but they still have a quality offensive line. And with the quarterback woes, they're going to have to run the ball as much as they kind of can to stay in games. So I think there's a lot of value in Jerome Ford too. But give me Trey Benson. He's kind of my favorite click in this running back range. Almost at 20%. I'll probably kind of stay there, and it'll keep going down that road. We'll see how it shakes out at the end. I definitely don't want to fall behind a running back, and I think I'm in a good spot. I think that makes sense. I could bring in a couple rookies, which I would like to do in my running back room, and then kind of close it out and be able to keep it at 6 so I can throw some more volume at my wide receiver room, which is not in a bad spot at all, but I'm going to kind of have to take a break right here. Obviously took Trevor Lawrence, my second quarterback, brought in another running back. If I take a couple rookies around here, then, I'm going to be swaying away from wide receiver for a bit. So I might have to bring it back with volume, considering, BTJ, couple spots of a break there. Xavier Worthy, still, in my opinion, like the wide receiver one for sure. I think Xavier Worthy is going to end up with better stats than Rashee Rice for a couple of reasons. Not necessarily means that he's the wide receiver one in this offense, but we'll see. Coming off that injury, I do think it's on the table that Xavier Worthy could be more explosive and have the bigger ceiling, the higher ceiling than Rashee Rice towards the end of the season when it really matters. But we'll see. Obviously, with that speed, he's got the rushing upside as well. So there's a lot of ways that Xavier Worthy can score and score points for fantasy. So I like that. I like that for sure. Jerome Ford might just be the click here. Pitts is falling. I would bring in Pitts as my tight end one. That makes some sense as well. Jaden Higgins could make some sense for sure. I definitely want to be a little closer to 20% Jaden Higgins. 6 wide receivers still on the table for me to take 9, but we'll see. So it's either Pitts or Ford. Some tight ends in this range that work. Let's let the kind of ownership decide that one. Let's go Ford. That was just razor thin, but let's try to get closer to completing our running back room because I can throw volume at my tight end spot at the end. Even if I have to go with 4 tight ends, I can do that with what I've done so far. With my build so far, I can absolutely just take 4 tight ends at the end and make it work, I think. Yeah, realistically, I still wouldn't stop at 5, but I suppose you could. But I'd like to bring in just a 6th, probably a rookie, and then I'm done at running back as well. So this is kind of, like I've said earlier, this is kind of just what I'm doing right now is trying to wrap up quarterback and running back. And this is what I was doing all draft cycle last year in the big board. This is what I was doing. I was going early quarterback for the most part, kind of elite. I was doing like Josh Allen with like Jaden Daniels, that sort of thing, and then being done at 2 quarterbacks, and then filling up my running back room, being done by like round 12, honestly, like 6 running backs by round 12, and then just pissing yellow until the end of the draft. It worked out really well for me, if I'm being honest, as far as like my finals teams, my advance rates, things like that. I had 2 teams in the finals, so it definitely really worked out for me. And that's kind of where I didn't start with doing that. I'm going to bring in RJ Harvey and wrap up my running back room. But it didn't start that strategy didn't start this off-season cycle, the big board cycle, but that's where it is for me now. So I'm going to probably be finishing out the big board season with a lot of those types of roster textures and roster constructions where it's exactly kind of what you see here. I'm done at quarterback, I'm done at running back, and now I can just finish up my wide receiver room with 2 or 3 and then just piss blue, I guess, with tight ends at the end, because I just think there's so many valuable tight ends at the end of the draft. There's just a ton. Even guys like, so when we're done, 20th round, 18th, 19th, 20th round, we've got guys like Juwan Johnson who signed back with New Orleans. That's a great spot for him. It's a good offense for a tight end. He's a huge value for me. I'm going to try to get up to 10% at least, Juwan Johnson. Chinga Conko is still there. Doesn't make sense in this build, but he's still there. Noah Gray. If you like Theo Johnson, go nuts. I don't particularly. There's all these rookies, Arroyo, Taylor, even Terrence Ferguson. There's some deep value guys like Noah Fant I'm drafting. Michael Mayer I'm soft on now because he's not been traded. If he's was going to get traded, I think it would have been done by now. So he might just end up being on the Raiders and not being a value. So I have a few shares, but I'm not really clicking his name right now until we get some news. I think AJ Barner is an okay click at the end of drafts. And then there's some even deeper guys. I'm worried about Conklin because he hasn't been signed yet either. He's still a free agent out there. So that's concerning. I haven't clicked him yet, but he's on the radar. Austin Hooper's actually like not the worst click ever. He's on the table considering what he's done, especially last year, his first year with New England, where he is back with the Patriots. 3 touchdowns, 476 yards. That's really not bad at all. So he's a viable option, if I'm being honest. There's even deeper guys for me. Jeremy Ruckert right now. I know they just brought in Stone Smart, but he's not a tight end. He's a big slot. I think we know that. And I've clicked Ruckert a few times, college teammate of Justin Fields, the 3rd round draft pick for the Jets a couple years ago. He's a 3rd year in the league now. So in theory, he's kind of figured it out. So he's a guy that you can add, especially if you have Justin Fields. I think he's viable. It kind of ends there, but yeah, there's how many guys do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tight ends that are rounds 18, 19, 20 that I think are viable clicks. Not that you want to bank everything on those guys, that's for sure. But I do think that they're viable clicks. Same thing with wide receiver. I think there's tons of value at the end of drafts that you can just kind of pick off, both rookies and established veterans that have decent landing spots. So we're going to make it easy here and just bring up Brenton Strange. I'm not going to take any chances on him not being there. So let's bring in our first tight end. Definitely bring him up. That makes tons of sense. So it's only wide receiver and tight end for me, again, from here on out. So only a few more clicks. We're going to rip one more draft after this. Just have a fun little Saturday. Rip a couple drafts. If you're just popping in, smack the like button. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button as well. We're getting closer and closer by the day to the subscriber goal. So I appreciate that. Some new names, some new faces in the chat. Appreciate you guys. What are we going to do? Gesicki is kind of the last of the really that's a tight end that I want a lot. I'm at about 20%, 21%, and 21% overall. I fully expected Kramer to take him. If I'm being honest, he only had one. So I was fully expecting him to not be there. Not shocking. But my backup plan was Josh Palmer. Bring him in with, Coleman. Deep threat, sort of a deep threat, but more of just a jump ball guy. So I got my double stack Buffalo, my double stack Jacksonville is done. So I'm happy with that. Don't need to worry about stacking anymore. I have some division correlation with Buffalo and Miami. Then I have Jacksonville with some NFC. Geez. And then, NFC, AFC, a little mix of both. The Chiefs and Bills could play, right? That sort of stuff is something I like to look at and think about doing if it makes sense. Even like Jacksonville and Buffalo could play in the playoffs. We'll see. We will see how that goes. But I'm happy with the build so far. I would have liked another viable tight end. I think Brenton Strange is fantastic. I'm happy with that. But Freiermuth, Gesicki would have been nice, but I had to go Josh Palmer, no question. If anywhere, it was right here for RJ Harvey, but, then it's like, who do you take? I guess, Ollie Gordon's falling. That's a fine click, but my bags are pretty packed, and I'm trying to kind of ease off on Ollie Gordon, especially as he rises. My average ADP is way too high on him anyways. Not that really matters, but we'll see. Braylon Allen's a fine click, and then it's Damian Martinez. I kind of want to be where I'm at on Brashard Smith. I'm okay with 5-6% roughly. Marshawn Lloyd, I think it's a good click, but I've got enough. Audric Estime, I still think is fine, but I've got a lot. Jordan James, I think I'm fine where I'm at. Antonio Gibson, I think I'm fine. Maybe I should have taken a tight end over RJ Harvey, but I do want to bump him up to about that 8% too. So it's kind of a tough one. Again, it's still on the table. I can just throw 4 tight ends at this room, bring in one more wide receiver, which I think is fully viable, and then just throw a little bit of volume at my tight end spot, which might be what I do. Yeah, that might be the road that I go down here. Harold Fannin down to 16% feels nice. 19% overall. I kind of want to keep pulling back on that, so I don't think he's the click. Dalton Schultz concerns me with Cade Stover still there. He's gone anyways. And Cade Stover, I feel like, is going to eat into him a little bit more. Jatavian Sanders is still fine. I'm not going to lie, it does concern me with Tommy Tremble coming back, but Sanders is the better player for sure. Let's just bring in Sanders here. Let's bring him in. He should get a boost in his second year. Tremble was there last year too, and he still had a quality rookie year. I want to keep it around the 10% range. I know the Harold Fannin slander will just break Ben's heart in the chat, but sorry, man. Sorry about it. You know it kind of hurts. Who would draft a better best ball team, Carlos Condit or GSP? That's a good question. We were talking about this in the chat. The only person that's ever noticed my Oh man, Juwan Johnson goes. That hurts. That was going to be my click, but they've only noticed my stuff in the background here. So this is a picture my wife drew me of myself on a stream. She drew it for me for Christmas. It's wonderful. So that's that. There's obviously the Bengals helmet. We got JJ Watt right here, one of my all-time favorite players. Period. Little car. You can't see some other stuff. I got a Chichen Itza thing. Roger Clemens. You can't really see right here. And then this guy is Carlos Condit. So you can only see it, I think, when it's like this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, you can. There's my Roger Clemens, who's my all-time favorite pitcher. And then Carlos Condit right here. You can't see the Chichen Itza, which is in Mexico, but yeah, one of my favorite fighters of all time, Carlos Condit. So underrated. If you're not a fight fan and you just want to see some chaos, go watch Carlos Condit fight. It's he's one of my favorites of all time. He almost beat GSP too, by the way. That fight was super entertaining. You want to see a very entertaining? Go watch Carlos Condit GSP. He almost beat him. It was a really, really good fight. But who drafts a better basketball team? Yeah, Carlos Condit. It's got to be Carlos Condit. He's on my Mount Rushmore, and GSP is not. Dude, is GSP a better fighter? Of course, but not my opinion. Not for me. Like my Mount Rushmore has Carlos Condit on it, and not GSP. So there you go. And I'm Canadian, so you should say that I should love Carlos Condit or I should love GSP, but I wasn't the biggest GSP fan, if I'm being honest. What are we gonna do here? Because Juwan Johnson was no question my click. I think I'm gonna have to throw 4 at this tight end room. Let's just try Higbee, I guess. My big concern. Yeah, let's just try Higbee. My big concern with Higbee with the Rams is it's pretty well known, and I actually bet on it. I called that, and it didn't happen, but I called it and threw a decent bet. I think it was like $50 or something, and it was a really nice payout on Brock Bowers going to the Rams last year. It's very well known now that it was they were trying to get him. They were trying to move up. They're trying to make it happen and get Brock Bowers. And I called that. I threw a big bet on it. I did some looking around. It made sense. I thought that they really liked him. Whatever. And it went from like, I think I got it at like 20 something to 1, and then it went all the way up to like 12 to 1. So I could have cashed it out for a nice profit actually, without taking any risk. But either way, so that's my big concern with Tyler Higbee is like, are they just going to replace him with a strong tight end, class? Even though with the combine, it kind of took a hit, the tight end class. There's still a ton of talent in my opinion, but are they, rookie year ready? Like they're not Brock Bowers. You could say like Tyler Warren could be that good, but is he, if he was focused on in the offense like Brock Bowers was with the Raiders? But other than that, like Mason Taylor, I really, really like, and I think he's going to be a good, NFL tight end for sure. I could, the comp would probably be like a Cade Otton type, but is he going to be that in his rookie year? I don't know. I'm not so sure. Same thing with Arroyo. There's definitely an injury red flag on Elijah Arroyo as well. So that's a concern. Terrence Ferguson, you guys know how much I love Terrence Ferguson. He's my guy, but is he going to be ready year 1? I don't know. So yeah, unless they get like Tyler Warren, the Rams, which he won't be there for them. So unless they trade up, which I doubt, he's not going to be there. Colston Loveland, maybe. Like that's a maybe for me. And I don't think there's too much difference between Colston Loveland and Terrence Ferguson. Personally, I've said it a lot on this channel. But if they went Terrence Ferguson, are they going to throw him in there kind of year 1? I don't know. So yeah, that's where I'm at with Higbee. That is where I'm at with Tyler Higbee. But let's bring him in. I'm going to throw 4 at this room and just, hope that I can get 10 to 12 points every week out of these 4 guys and kind of take it from there. So is there a wide receiver that I need on this team? No. I mean, I could bring in Parker Washington, but I don't think I really need it. So let's do little Chigakonkwo. Much like I did with Miami and the Jags, let's do with Miami and Buffalo. I'm going to do it with Jacksonville and Tennessee. So let's bring in Chigakonkwo as our fourth. And then I have, the double bring back for Miami, Buffalo, and the double bring back for Jacksonville, Tennessee. That's an interesting way to build, I think. So let's do that. I agree with this. Not out of the question, I don't think either. Andrews would be he'd be wild on the Rams. That would be a really nice fit. I was really hoping, before Mike Gesicki re-signed with the Bengals, I was really hoping the Ravens would just cut Mark Andrews, because that's potentially what will happen anyways. Maybe they can trade him, but if they want him off the team, they might have to just release him. We'll see where it kind of lands with Mark Andrews, but there's a lot of chatter about him not being on this team. And then I was hoping he would just revenge tour with the Cincinnati Bengals. That would have been really, really fun. That would have been really fun. I might do something crazy and take Kevontae Turpin. We will see. I haven't taken him yet. I think he's a viable click. He got pretty good money, and they haven't brought in anybody. Yes, I think they address it in the draft for sure, but man, just get the ball in his hands, and he could take a step forward in this offense. 400 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ran the ball 16 times as well. So clearly get him in the game, get the ball in his hands, and see if some magic can happen. He resigns for 3 years too. So that's not for nothing, man. Like, I think Turpin is someone that we can really think about clicking at the end of drafts. I was talking, he's on my list for 20th round value picks, but I haven't clicked him yet till now. So there we go. Let's get a little Turpin in our lives. I'm out in the streets causing chaos. Andrews on the Rams would be, that would be fun. That would be really fun. I think we got to look through a couple teams. We got Lolsimo and we got Kramer, 222. We're going to take a look at those two. You guys are done picking, right? So let's look at mine quick, and then we'll dig into yours, and then we'll jump into another draft here. A little bit of an odd build, but I think it makes a lot of sense. 2, 6, 8, 4. Definitely Turpentine. Turpentine. Just got that. That's fucking awesome. Turpentine. That is so good. That is so good. Yeah, I love it. I'm definitely going to be clicking them. That's for sure. That's what I saw. I saw Paris Campbell's name pop up on my phone, but didn't really care because it's Paris Campbell. 1-year deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that at all. I'm not concerned with that one bit. I don't think he eats into Turpin and what he does at all. Yeah, it's Turpentine, man. It's Turpentine. You've been removed. You removed yourself. That's self-exclusion because you maxed out all the tournaments. So it's you self-excluded yourself until rookies and sophomores. But that'll be fun. I don't know. I thought maybe like this week, I would think. I would also think that they would release it before a weekend. So maybe, at some point this week, maybe like a Thursday, something like that. I've never actually played rookies and sophomores. I've always been like too focused on the big boards and stuff like that I've never done it. But this year I'm definitely going to do it. Definitely going to jump into some rookies and sophomores. That's for sure. Let's take a look at some of these teams. Okay, so 2, 6, 8, 4, which is odd, but it does work. Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, stop at 2. I'm happy with that. Didn't reach. It fell to me. Makes sense. Devon Achane, couple picks at ADP. Tony Pollard, Zach Charbonnet, Trey Benson, Jerome Ford, RJ Harvey. Definitely works. I'm pretty happy with this sort of a texture. I was really hoping to get DJ Giddens instead of RJ Harvey. I would have Giddens ahead of Harvey as far as like being able to play more and be on the field more. I think he's more of a workhorse 3-down back than an RJ Harvey is, but I do want enough RJ Harvey. So I'm happy to make that happen. But this is a quality room. I'm happy with the room. Makes a lot of sense. I do need some injury or just some upside, like Zach Charbonnet, Trey Benson. As long as Jerome Ford is kind of the 1A or 1B, realistically, with the Browns, then I should be okay. Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Juwan Jennings, Emeka Ibuka, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer, Cavante Turpin. I like this a lot, man. I like this a lot. That's a really nice room to me. Double stack my Buffalo Bills. I double stack Jacksonville with Brenton Strange. I got double bring back Miami, double bring back Tennessee. I like this team quite a bit. I think it works. Did I get any value? Not really. Brought up Josh Palmer, but he's going to get to that ADP, I think, so I'm fine with that. Brenton Strange, Tavian Sanders, Tyler Higbee, and Chiga Okonkwo. Yeah, man, this works too. As long as I get 10 to 12 points, which you should, Strange should obviously be that anchor in the tight end room. JT Sanders takes a step forward. Tyler Higbee gets back to being pre-injury Tyler Higbee, and he doesn't get replaced in the draft. I still think he'll have a role regardless. And then Chiga Okonkwo, just because it works for the team build. So I like this team. I'm happy with it. Let's take a look at Losimo. Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud. I'm happy to stop at 2 there. That works. That's enough capital. Yeah, I'm good with that quarterback room. Ashton Genty, Breece Hall, Jalen Wright, Tyler Algier, Austin Eckler, Will Shipley, and Raheem Rocket Sanders. That works. That's a nice room. 2783. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. You got your double anchor sort of situation with Genty and Hall. I like Jalen Wright a lot. Tyler Algier is a fantastic handcuff. I still think there's value in Eckler, so that's a good click. Could be your RB2. What's his name? AJ Dillon just came into Philly, but he plays nothing like Will Shipley, so I'm fine with that. Rocket Sanders, that's a good quality rookie at the end. Nico Collins, Cortland Sutton, Deebo Samuel, Luther Burden, Josh Downs, Christian Kirk, Romeo Dobbs, and Michael Wilson. This definitely works. Double stack Houston, and I think you brought in Schultz. Yeah. So triple stack Houston, I'm fine with that. Triple stack Washington, that works as well with Deebo and Ertz. And then, Travis Kelce, you're steady 8 to 10 points at this point in his career, but he'll probably have those 2 touchdown spike weeks. So, yeah, nice looking squad. Makes sense. Well built. Kramer 222. We got Baker Mayfield and Justin Herbert. That's fine for me. That's like fringe of where you'd want to stop at 2, and maybe you could take a third at the end of the draft if you really wanted to, but I think you're fine to stop at 2, so that works for me. Chase Brown, what do we got? 2693. Chase Brown, Quinshon Judkins, Jalen Warren, Bashaw Tootin, Javonte Williams, Nick Chubb. I'm really not clicking Nick Chubb at all, but I get it if you want to. This room works either way. I'm really not clicking Javonte Williams, especially as he's, rising up the board. I'm definitely out completely. I have some shares in like the 200s, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm not clicking Javonte Williams at 157. I'm sorry. I'm just not doing it. This texture works, though. It makes sense. The build works. A couple good quality rookies that I really, really like. You guys know how much I love Bashaw Tootin. But yeah, the room works as a whole. I just don't quite agree with these 2 clicks personally. Malik Neighbors, Lad McConkey, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Marvin Mims, Jaden Higgins, Alec Pierce, Troy Franklin, Mike Williams. I'm not clicking Mike Williams at all, but I can't blame you for doing it. You pair him up with Herbert, so I get that. Makes tons of sense. Perfectly fine to click him with this build. Double stacked your Chargers, double stacked your Bucks. This makes a lot of sense, and I actually like doing this, like Alec Pierce, Troy Franklin, just those like deep ball guys. I would throw Josh Palmer in this conversation as well. Just big play, spike week kind of wide receivers. It's a really nice way to round out your wide receiver room. So, and you could throw Mike Williams in that conversation, I guess, as well. So I do like finishing up your wide receiver room with that sort of, a texture type of a player archetype. So this definitely works. I'm happy with this wide receiver room for sure. Colston Lovin, Mike Gesicki, and Michael Mayer. That works. That's fine. I'm slowing down a little bit on Mayer. just because he hasn't been traded yet. So we'll see if he does. Hopefully for him, he does. But this still works regardless because Loveland and Gesicki, you could throw anyone you want really with your kind of final pick, and it's not a bad click. So yeah, not bad. Let's jump into another one. We'll take a peek at the chat, catch up on that. Let's jump into another big board. If you want to draft, jump in. We're in, waiting on 9. So tons of room, tons of space. The water's fine. Jump in if you like. If you're just joining the chat, if you're just coming in, hit the like button for me if you don't mind. And if you like the content, hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer by the day to our subscriber goal, and we're going to get there. I genuinely think we're going to get there. If you enter those $3 drafters, someone's auto drafting a bunch, taking Genty at 5, Najee, or there was last night. Yeah, honestly, Najee makes more sense to bring up for sure in drafters, I think, than Underdog. But first time I clicked him at all. Who are we talking about? Mike Williams? I can't believe Cowboys running back room is Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Oh, probably Javonte. Probably Javonte Williams, I'd imagine. Yeah. Yeah. I find it a little hard to believe as well, but they're going to draft somebody. Like they absolutely are going to draft a pretty quality rookie running back, I feel. I don't know about first round, but with their second round pick, I think they could definitely, one of those first or second round picks will be a running back, I think. And then the other will probably be a running or an offensive lineman is my prediction for the Cowboys, but we'll see. I got to go through my needs because a lot of it has been addressed in free agency. So I got to redo that before the draft and then build out my mock draft, which I only do one. I only do one mock draft, Mike Mayock style. It'll be about a week roughly before the NFL draft. It will be on a live stream. We won't draft. We'll just be doing the mock draft, talking through it. So hopefully that'll be fun. But yeah, that's my expectations. I will get where will I get? Javonte Williams? Not getting there with Javonte. Not happening. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, so many people got such late Najee teams early on Underdog. 100%. Like I said, my average ADP is 105 on Najee at 18%. So I'm still going to be clicking them for sure. And I'll bring them up to the 60s, 70s for sure. I think there's a ton of value there. Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, I think it'll get there. Oh, I'm 6th. Perfect. We'll look at the draft in a second here. That's a perfect spot to be. I think we'll get to the 500 before the draft for sure. I got to think about just scheduling it in and getting some guests lined up because I think it'll happen too. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming in the chat, helping me out. We got I was inverted. Paul's in the 4th spot, quality drafter. I'm not sure if he's in the chat or not, but make this room a little tougher. We got Lolsimo and a Mega King. I'm just going to be getting no EV in this one. Surrounded by Lolsimo, Mega King, Paul. That's awesome. Super Supreme, I've been seeing a lot, and he makes some suspect selections. So we'll see what he ends up doing at the in the 12 hole there. But easy click. Let's bring in CD. He's my favorite. I want to be 20% at least. He's going to be my highest exposed first rounder for sure. So that's the easiest click ever at the 6th spot. I will take him every single time at 5 or 6. Paul is here. What's happening, man? Appreciate you coming in. This is going to be a tough room. Tough room. Omega King brings up Amon-Ra. Not bad at all. I think that's a good click. Again, you can argue Amon-Ra over Puka, definitely over Nico, right there with Brian Thomas, even over Brian Thomas, over Malik Neighbors, I think. So, yeah, quality click. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. What's your username? I was inverted? It's I was inverted. Right there. In the 4 spot. Who Ames? You don't know the legend of I was inverted? Quality. Shout out to Paul. Quality drafter. Very quality drafter. Definitely won some tournaments, won some money. OG of the best ball space. Paul and James Brimacombe Eagles are the kind of the OGs of the best ball space. The unsung heroes, if you will, of the OGs of the best ball space. Definitely an OG. Definitely. You're welcome. Much deserved. Much deserved. I don't mind doing what he just did, but this Super Supreme guy, I've drafted with him a few times lately. He's pretty sus. Makes some interesting selections, but that's the kind of chaos that I was, we're talking about 2 nights ago on the last stream. That's the kind of chaos that you want and you like. It just sucks when it, bites you in the nuts. That's when it hurts, So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Get your guys when there's guys like that in the draft. Get your guys. Everyone else is pretty much badged, but to be honest, like there's so many badged users these days. There's not a lot of badge lists anymore. With all the sports that they run and everything like that, it's pretty hard to see badge lists in your rooms. So we got CD. Who do I need to pair him up with? Let's just do Jonathan Taylor. I'm only at 13% paired with CD. I think he's a fantastic click where he goes. So let's bring him in. I don't love the Brock Bowers click in the second round. But if you want your exposure, need your exposure, and you want to maybe mix in some stuff with Geno, then that's a fine way to go about it. You could bring in like a late Trey Tucker. Obviously, Jacoby Myers is there as well. So yeah, there's some interesting things you can do with, the Raiders, and you kind of have to. Obviously, you have to with Brock Bowers. You have to take him there if you want him, and if you want to mix in some of that exposure with, paired with Geno. So we'll see if that happens. Obviously, he's fine to take naked as well, and you can even pair him up with, either one of those guys, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. You can pair him up and not bring in Geno. That's fine to do as well. Chip Kelly offense is fine to bet on with the speed at which they're going to play with. So, yeah. Yeah, I think he's top 12 to 15, but I get it, high cost. Definitely. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about his, paying off that ADP. So, yeah, I agree with this. Or even like sport kind of different badges for different sports. I'd like to see more badges to differentiate whether they earned it through season, daily drafts, certain sports. Yeah, you said it there. So certain sports, like differentiate it that way. That's a fun way to do it too. Because there's a lot of guys, like I always say it, and most people agree, like having a badge doesn't mean shit. Like it literally means nothing. It doesn't mean I always say, like, I expect more. I expect more out of badge drafters. I expect them to make the right clicks and to make the right decisions. Let's just bring in Breeze. I don't have him paired with Jonathan Taylor at all. So let's bring him in. It's a good click, good value at 30. You bet your ass I'll take Breece Hall. So badges don't mean a goddamn thing. But again, I do expect more out of them. So, but because like Paul's saying here, like, did they earn it in daily stuff? Did they earn it in basketball? Did they earn it in hockey? Whatever, right? Like it means nothing. It doesn't mean that they're a good drafter in any sport that the badge, drafter shows up in any room they show up in, right? But again, you expect more out of them. So I would like to see some changes. I think it's coming. I'm not sure his name on Twitter, but the guy that kind of he got hired like a year ago, and he does a lot of the promo type stuff and rewards type stuff. He's been saying that there's, they hear us, because a lot of us best ball bros are talking about it and pushing for it to have some more, I don't want to call it clarity, but just differentiation, I guess, in the badges. Having just a black and red badge, it's like, cool. It just means nothing, especially for a guy like Paul, who's drafted a million drafts. Like there should be like some sort of gold badge or something that, once you hit, I don't know what to call it, a number 2,500. I don't know, name a number, whatever you want to do, and have like a gold badge or something different that, that's something that's like, oh shit, this guy, is a quality drafter. I don't know, just spitballing, but you know what I mean? There should be some sort of differentiation in the badges. Yeah, more diverse for sure. Like let's see some cool different things pop up closer to 15K. I was trying to be modest for like people like, I don't know, me or some other guys. Like I'm probably at, I don't know, like if I had to say, I'm probably at about like 2,500. Yeah. So something like that, but probably more than that with the dailies and stuff. But yeah, like you said, like differentiate between like season long stuff, daily stuff, whatever, right? Like let's just differentiate it. Pick'ems, wow, you can earn badge from Pick'ems. That's interesting. Badge, let's do it. Yeah, I'm around that 2,500. So whatever, or like have a few different colors: green badge, gold badge. I don't know, whatever, right? Like I just think, yeah, let's get some differentiation here between the badges, just to make it fun. That's an interesting build. Let's take a look at the draft board in a second here to see what's going on. Let's bring in Devontae with CD. Let's do that. I think that makes the most sense here. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Let's bring in Devontae with CD Lamb. Gold badge, green badge, who gives a shit? Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But either way, it's just funner, right? Like it makes it more fun. Like, yeah, something like that, like a crown, especially for like the BBM winners. Like most people know the names, but I don't remember who won BBM4. I know who he is. His name's, I can't remember his name, but I know who he is, but I don't remember his username. I really don't. I know El Gru won last year, right? Obviously, we know Pat Carrain. Obviously, we know Liam, and if you don't, he'll tell you. And then we know Justin Herzig as well, right? So we know like a lot of the winners, but as like it's less and less likely that like a known, streamer or someone like Paul or James or something like that, like someone that drafts a lot, it's less likely as it grows that someone like that wins Best Ball Mania. So yeah, like I don't know the username for the Best Ball winner or Best Ball Mania winner of Best Ball Mania 4. I don't remember his username. So it would be cool to see that pop up. Or even like, I don't know, for the big board, baby. For this one, this is the biggest draft. This is the Best Ball Mania of pre-draft, right? So it's a pretty big win. If you win this tournament, that's a pretty big deal. And I couldn't tell you a single one of the winners of the big board, right? So something, I don't know. There might not be room for it, but there should be something cool that you can do. Like you said, a gold crown, even just if you won a tournament, right? Like a season long, or I don't know, something like that. El Grubin in every DK draft I've done this year, geez. Yeah, he's spreading his money around, which is fine. Yeah, geez, he's just everywhere, which is, do it. He won a lot of money. So I want to be the first Canadian to win Best Ball Mania. Why? I win a shit ton more money than anyone in in the States. That's for sure. Number one, no taxes. So that's wonderful. I win all the money. Number two, give me a quarter on every single dollar. So, $1 million American turns into 1.25 Canadian, like that, which is pretty nice. And I don't pay taxes on it, which is also nice. So being Canadian and winning a tournament like that would be just lovely. It would be just fantastic. What are we gonna do here? I was looking at Chris Olave. Definitely looking at Chris Olave. But Let's do Cortland Sutton, I guess. I mean, it's Sutton over, for sure, over everyone in this range, but maybe Waddle. I guess you could say Godwin's right there too, but Pickens, Judy, easy. Give me Sutton. Let's do that. The headbands for winning a contest, isn't that for winning like an NBA thing? Let's look together. Let's look together. The snapback, look out for beat jack contests. Entering at least 10 NBA contests. That's what the headband is. The headband is just enter 10 NBA contests. Boom, you got it. Unlock winning cash prize in both an NBA Battle Royal and NFL Battle Royal the same day, same Christmas day. Like, that's easy. Like the Goat Horns win a Battle Royale. Like, that means a lot for sure. But that's about it. The Trojan helmet means nothing. The Goat Horns is really the only one. But like, yeah, like a gold crown, throw it in there, something like that. I don't know. There's stuff you can do. And I know they're like looking at it. It's a matter of if it'll happen or not. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, man. Like, so if you don't know, James Brimacombe, Eagles, he's been on the show, friend of the program. He is Canadian originally. He lives in the States. He lives in Utah, but he is Canadian originally. So I was talking with him about it. Like let's say you won Best Ball Mania. Would you just come back to Canada and claim it here? Like, so let's say, what was it? $2 million last year, right? It was 2 million. I think it was, let's just use a round number. $2 million is what it was to win Best Ball Mania. Let's say he wins Best Ball Mania. So my question to him was, would you take $500,000? Actually, it's more than that because of the, you're about 45% roughly. So it's almost $1 million in taxes, which is fucking insane. So would you take $1.5 million to move to Canada and be Canadian? Again, it's easy for him because he is Canadian, right? So he could easily make it happen. That becomes the question. And, I think he was like, yeah, I would. Why the hell would you not? Like, pick up your whole family, move back to Canada. Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't. I'm not going to let Joe Burrow go any further here. Sorry if I'm sniping somebody. I'm not letting Joe Burrow go any further than 67. That's for damn sure. I'll take him naked and figure it out later. Yeah, let's make that click. But that was my question to James. Would you just pick up your family, move everything back to Canada, not get taxed, get a quarter on every dollar, right? Like, there's a lot of pros and cons to being Canadian versus American. There's a lot of pros and cons. And don't say healthcare, because our healthcare system is a fucking sham and it's a piece of shit. So free health, yeah, it's free, but you get what you pay for. So anyways, that's another story for another day. That's it. I've never looked through these, to be honest. Yeah, it's not a lot. Like, it'll tell you what you need to do it. It's pretty easy to do it. You can get any of them very, 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 very easily, except for the goat horns. That's the only one that really means anything. So yeah, horns, like if there's a goat horn in your draft, it's like, oh, this guy probably knows what he's doing. He won a battle royale. Like, he knows what he's doing a little bit. I like my Rudolph Noah from the NBA to cash this Christmas Day. Yeah, like, it's easy to get and it's cool. Like, it's definitely, something different. So at least you can actually get what you pay for. Here in the States, we pay and don't get jack shit. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you're waiting. Like, I don't want to get into this. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into the healthcare system in Canada versus the States. Like, I don't want to get into it, but the people that are like, oh, free healthcare in Canada, yeah, our healthcare system is a fucking joke. It's an absolute sham. So another story for another day. Another story for another day. It's not something we need to really get into. But anyways, I'm going to bring in Najee. I'm going to be clicking him like every time around here. If he falls to me here, and that really opens some doors at running back for me, So let's bring in Najee. I'm happy with CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Smith, Cortland Sutton. I'm happy with that start at wide receiver. I can always catch up later if I need to or want to. So let's just solidify a running back room. I got Joe Burrow, who had a huge discount. So a lot of doors are open for me in this draft, I feel like. Rookie RBs go, brrr. Who'd you take? You don't have one yet. But yeah, at the end of drafts, some value there. There's some value there. Let's go to the board. There's some craziness. Who took 2 quarterbacks right here? Malik Neighbors, Devon Achane, Josh Allen. Wow, you're way behind at wide receiver here. Joe Mixon and Kamara are not the best clicks for me. I'd be taking Kenny Walker over both of these guys. And now he's really backed himself. He's got to take Debo here, I'd imagine, or Shakir. You got to take Debo or Shakir. Take Shakir. Okay. Where's Debo? Did he go already? Must have gone. Oh, yeah. He's like at 50s now. There he is. Oh, he was just praying Debo fell to him. Got sniped. That hurts. And then Aaron Jones, just the old running back room. Interesting. Interesting. Not sure that's something I would build personally. We'll see if he takes another quarterback, but I doubt he does. I don't think that strategy makes a crazy amount of sense personally. Small run before us. I get you. Yeah, Judkins, Caleb, Patrick Mahomes. This is kind of working out the way I wanted it to. Let's go Bo Nix. Pair him up with my Cortland Sutton. And I'm done at quarterback. I am going to be done at quarterback there. Let's do that. I'm making a massive bet on this rookie running back class. Me too. Just certain guys. Like, I'm pulling back on Caleb. Like, he's got to fall. He's just got to fall. And then I'll keep drafting him. I have like 8% roughly, but he's got to fall below Judkins, which he is. He's got to fall below Najee. He falls below Tony Pollard for me, but he's right in this range. So he's getting there. He's definitely getting there, but he's got to fall to the mid 80s roughly. Like, he should be going around this range of running back. So Warren, Pollard, Jones, Tracy, Stevenson. He's got to fall into that range somewhere. What's his ADP doing right now? Down to 70. My average is 67. So I'm definitely too high. 6% is where I'm at, which is fine. He's got to fall into the 80s. So he's got to fall another like 15 picks for me to start clicking Caleb again. Yeah, that's just where I'm at with it. I got to take a look at what we're doing here for click because I'm not sure who I want to pick. I'd like to probably catch up a little bit at wide receiver, but I don't think anything needs to be forced. Tight end could make a lot of sense here. Jonnu would have been a decent click. But that's okay that he's gone. I'm going to go, I want to be about 10 to 12%. I'll say 8 to 12%, but probably on the higher side on Travis Hunter. So let's bring in Travis Hunter. I don't want to be left out in the cold. I want to have enough, 8 to 12%. I probably won't be any higher than 12%, at least not much, but I want to be closer to 12% than 8%. So, I'm up to about 10 now, which is fine. So let's do that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so other than that, I'm pretty high on the rest of these rookie running backs. Quinchon, I'm high on. Trevion, I'm high on. Omari and Hampton, I need to get a lot more. He's just flying up draft boards. So yeah, I wish I was clicking him a lot more when I was trying to be even with Caleb. I should have been clicking Hampton every single time. So that kind of hurts. And I should have even pushed some of the Trevion shares over to Marion Hampton, but it is what it is. Except for Genty. I'm not clicking him. It's pretty well known at this point that I have 0% Ashton Genty, and it's not changing. I'm not getting bullied into clicking Ashton Genty. I'm not. I'm sticking to my guns. I'm not afraid to be wrong, and I'm not afraid to be right either. So I'm not clicking him. If he falls to like maybe 19, 20 is where I'll take him. That's where I'll take him. Pick 20 is where I'll take Ashton Genty. And I really don't think it's even possible for me to be wrong on that. I really don't. It's the Derrick Henry defense. It's the Jonathan Taylor defense. It's the Devon Achane defense. Even Christian McCaffrey, who I haven't really clicked much either. But we'll see what happens with that one. I'm sure everyone's keeping the receipts, which is fine. You absolutely should. Do it. Hold me accountable. I appreciate that. And Harold Fannin. Yeah. No doubt. I think this year the 2017 class gets replaced, I'd imagine. Yeah. I feel you on that. I'm going to not take Marvin Mims here, but I am going to pull up Evan Ingram. I think this is actually the range of tight end he should be going around. Right here with Tucker Kraft, I think he should be going ahead of Njoku, actually. So Njoku needs to fall for me to even click him at 1%. I'm not clicking him here. So let's bring up Evan Ingram, pair him up with my Bo Nix and my Cortland Sutton. I like that. Don't need to worry too much. I don't need to worry at all about taking another Denver Bronco. So even if Mims falls into my lap, I'm not taking him. Paul gets some value there, which is good, but yeah, I'm happy to get Ingram there. I think that's where he should rise to, at least that range. I sniped the one spot. He was trying to just extreme push Joe Burrow, which I'm just not letting it happen. In theory, it could work, but that's pretty risky to not just take Joe Burrow here when you're going Chase and Higgins. Like if you're only taking one of them, I saw someone post this on Twitter today, which I'm extremely standing. I'm going to double down right now on my take of best ball bros. We're way ahead of the game on all of this stuff. And then when you see the season long or the redraft or the Devi guys say something about best ball, it's welcome to the fucking conversation, man. Thanks. We haven't known that for 2 fucking months already. But anyways, I saw someone post something on Twitter. I'm not naming any names, but basically exactly this. I'm just going to make this pick and then I'll explain what I saw and what we're talking about here. Wow. Don't love this range. Might be a Keenan Allen spot, I guess. Or I just take some upside at tight end. Let's do that with Isaiah Likely. I think there's a lot of upside there, and it pairs up with my Cincinnati thing. I don't love bringing him up, but I hate this range of everything, really. But anyways, what I was saying is his tweet said something like, if you're taking Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, then you got to take Joe Burrow you can't risk it and just take him at the 4-5 turn, 48, 49. But if you're only taking one, then you can try to super push him around to the 72. It's yeah, man, thanks. Thanks for explaining that to me. Fuck, guy, we know. Thanks. We've known that for 2 months now, really. So anyways, if you're taking the 2, I think you kind of box yourself in. You have to just take Joe Burrow right here at the 4-5 turn. But yeah, if you just take Jamar Chase and you push T. Higgins, and then you can try to push Burrow, and it's not as important that he's on your team. So yeah, if you're taking the 2 top pass catchers, the 2 top wide receivers on pretty much any offense, you're kind of backing yourself into taking that that quarterback to correlate with them. But I mean, it doesn't mean it can't work. It's just you're making that bet on those 2 pass catchers. So I don't understand why you wouldn't bring in the quarterback. But yeah, little spiel about replaced. Yeah. I think this year the 2017 class gets officially replaced by the running backs. I'm only 6% Hampton here. Needed to take some instead of Henderson. I'm with you. Yeah, like I'm at like 14% now Hampton, and I want to get that up to like 20, and I probably will. It's just going to cost me, which sucks, but it is what it is. He's still worth it. Is the 0% Genty stand a pre-draft or season-long stand? It's pre-draft. It's 100% right now. Like the biggest thing, like, okay, I'll explain my take. Again, I think it deserves to be talked about a lot. Because it's a hard stand. I get it. And I get people disagreeing with me, but I was doing the exact same thing with Marvin Harrison Jr. last year. It ended up being a full season long. I thought he might fall after the draft and then I could start taking some shares, but he didn't. And there was a 0% chance I was taking Marvin Harrison at the 1-2 turn. And it's the same thing with Genty for me. So the conversation is, why am I doing it? Because Devon Achan's there. Christian McCaffrey's there. Derrick Henry's there. Jonathan Taylor's there. Known commodities, right? Forget all the other stuff. I'm going to explain the whole take, but for just what I know what I'm getting out of Jonathan Taylor. I know what I'm getting out of Derrick Henry. I'm not sure with Christian McCaffrey, but I'm very confident what I'm getting in Devon Achan, right? So that's my defense. Like the reason why I can't be wrong is because those three running backs are going in the same sort of a range. So that's just built in. I can't be wrong because they're all going there, right? I'm going to just take my guy, Bashal Tootin here because he's my guy and I want more. I always want more. Let's get him. So that alone, that argument right there is enough for me to fade Ashton Genty, right? If you disagree with me, you disagree with me. That's fine. But I know what I'm getting out of these three, and I'm going to take that known commodity every single time before the NFL draft. No question. So that right there. Then there's the other portion of why I don't love Genty as much as of just an NFL running back long term. But that has nothing to do with best ball. This conversation right now has nothing to do with best ball. But he's 5'9", 210 maybe, right? That's not a huge back. So for all of the punishment he's taken in his career at Boise State, right? Like 400 plus. Luckily, he didn't go further. The Boise State Broncos didn't go any further in the college football playoffs because he would have taken even more of a beating, right? And he wasn't that efficient in that college football playoff game, right? He had 30 carries or so and barely scraped together 100 yards. He didn't look great, right? So all of that punishment that he's taken doesn't equate typically to a long-term NFL career. It doesn't. Look through the numbers. That's a big reason why I'm completely fading Travis Etienne, right? He spent an extra year at Clemson that he shouldn't have done, took a bunch more punishment, and then tore his Achilles. Like, there's tons of reasons not to like Travis Etienne, but it's the same conversation, right? He's not a huge guy and he's taken a ton of punishment. People say that about Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry is a fucking grown-ass man. Like, he's huge. I don't need to tell you guys that, right? Let me make this pick and we'll continue this conversation because it needs to be talked about. I'm going to bring in Jaden Higgins here. Need a little more of that. Makes sense. Let's get him in. So that's the other part of the conversation. There's another out for me. If Ashton Genty gets hurt, which I think is completely on the table, that's another out for me. So I'll take that. What do we have left? The last portion of it. Yes, he crushed it in college. Yes, he was a Heisman finalist. He was no question the runner-up for the Heisman. No question Travis Hunter's the Heisman Trophy winner. Ashton Genty's number 2. That's no question about it. But he did all this in the fucking Mountain West, man. Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, he had some good games against some good teams. He struggled in the college football playoffs, right? Who is that against? Let's pull up his stat profile here. Let's just take a look at his stats. So Boise State, let's look at the game log, right? Penn State, 30 carries, 104 yards, 3.5 yards per carry against Penn State. That's struggling, right? Against UNLV, the 20th ranked team, but the Mountain West championship game, 32 carries, 209 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. Wonderful. That's great that you can do that against UNL fucking V, man. Like, I really don't care. Like, who else did he play? Oregon had a great game against Oregon. Wonderful. That's good to see. That's wonderful. Lovely. Other than that, there's no one else on the schedule. No one. 374 carries, plus another 23 catches, 400 fucking touches last year. That is not good. I'm telling you, that is not a good thing. Like, another 260 carries, plus he missed a couple games in 2023. And who did he play in 2023? Washington. That was a good team. 10 carries, 44 yards, 4.4 yards per carry. Other than that, who did he play? Whole bunch of fucking nothing. Like, I'm just not as excited about Ashton Jeanty as a prospect as everyone else is. I'm not. And I'm not going to get bullied into the consensus. I'm not. So I'm taking a hard ass stand. And here I'm getting sniped on Mike Gesicki, so that's fun. I'm taking a hard stand here. And I don't really care if I'm wrong, because again, there's too much built-in, outs for me that I don't think I even can be wrong. I don't think it's even possible because of everything I kind of just laid out. So there you go. There's my long-winded, complete take on why it doesn't make sense for Ashton Jeanty to be a 1-2 turn pick. It just does not add up. It doesn't make sense. And I'm not doing it. And I'm not going to get bullied into, just conforming to the consensus take. Let's take RJ Harvey. So if that doesn't make sense to you, that's fine. You can absolutely disagree with me. Absolutely. And most people do. The majority of people do. But I really don't care. Like, it's just not happening. I'm like 5% Jeanty, take him when he falls. Sure. Like, absolutely. Das Brew Crew, that's what I've been saying about him. He didn't play the best teams at all. There you go. Like, it's, let's look at the whole body of work. Just because he had 30 carries, 200 yards against Oregon, and that's it. Like, that's what we're saying. He struggled mightily against Penn State, and Penn State is a very good defense. I get it. But that's what he's going to be facing in the NFL. And he's not a massive fucking guy. Like, his listed measurements are 5'9", 215. Are we just saying that that's what he is? Like, I think we know that we need to see combine measurables. And I don't even think he was measured at the combine, because he came in at exactly that. Like, I don't think he did anything at the combine. I know he didn't do anything, but I don't even think he was measured and weighed. Oh, wait, he was. So he pulls back to 5'8.5", just like I thought he would. 5'8.5", and shush up this video. 5'8.5", 210. Just, that's exactly what I thought he would come in at, honestly. We're gonna wrap up our running back room with Ray Davis here, and then we're done. Cool. So 5'8.5", 211. Yeah, man, it's just not. His NFL comp is LaDainian Tomlinson. Honestly, come on, man. Fucking give me a break. One of the greatest running backs ever. Let's just call Ashton Jeanty, before he's played it down in the NFL, the greatest running back that's ever fucking lived. Like, give me a break. It's just gotten out of hand, man. It's just gotten out of hand. Oh, and another part. Actually, I left out one more part of that, right? One more part of that. We all agree. Everyone in the chat, we all agree that this is a very, 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 very strong running back class, right? We all agree that. So why the fuck is Ashton Jeanty going at pick 12, and Omarion Hampton, he got pulled up in this, is he going what he was going at pick like 50-something, 60-something? When the content, until the combine happened, where Omarion Hampton just went ham, right? He was going in the 60s. How the hell is Ashton Genty going at 12 and 50 picks later, Amarian Hampton's going? And Trevion Henderson. They were both, and even Caleb Johnson before the combine, right? We're going in the 60s where Genty's going 50 picks ahead of him. How the fuck does that make any sense? It doesn't to me. So this guy's just taking all the tight ends, or what's going on here? Bringing up a whole bunch of tight ends. Geez, just snipes me on Gesicki for no reason. That's fun. But like, make it make sense for me, guys. Make it make sense. Am I out of line? I don't know. You tell me. Like, I just don't think I am, man. I just really don't think I am. There's just so many outs for me to be correct. And I'm just going to continue to do it. I'm not stopping. It's not going to change. It's not going anywhere. I'm just going to keep doing it. So that's my long-winded answer. That's my long-winded take on why I'm 0% Ashton Genty. And yes, it is only pre-draft. We'll see what happens after the draft. I can completely change my tune. If he goes to the Chicago Bears and he's the only running back they draft, it's going to be fucking wheels up for me for Ashton Genty. So, like, if he goes to the Bears at what, 12 or 10, wherever they pick, if he goes to the Chicago Bears, I'm going to be an Ashton Genty slappy, hard slappy. Let's bring in Yoshi Voss because I have to get myself some Bengals here, considering Gesicki got sniped on me. Then I'll be a hardcore Ashton Genty slappy, drafting him a lot in the first round. Absolutely. So it could completely change after the draft. Gap is way too far, is why I have so much Hendo. 100%. I get it, he's risky, but full fades on early round picks always seems crazy, but I respect it. I do it all the time, man. Tony Pollard, when he was a Cowboy, everyone was taking him at the end of the first round, 0%. Worked out for me then. Marvin Harrison Jr., 0%. Worked out for me there. So I take these hard stands. I don't really care. Again, I'm not getting bullied into taking guys because everyone else is. It's not happening. Like, I'm pretty low on Barkley. I have a few shares. I'll take him at 5, maybe 4. Definitely 6, obviously, but I'm not taking him 1 or 2. Even 3, it's hard for me to click Barkley, and I'm really not. Like, I have CD ranked over Barkley. So Barkley's a bit of a fade for me. Nico's a bit of a fade for me. I have a few shares. Neighbors a little bit, but 0% Genty. 0. And I'm not changing it. I'm just not. So yeah, it's worked out for me before, and I'm going to do it again right now. So maybe if he goes, like I said, if he goes to the Bears and he's their only running back that they draft, I'll be wheels up, man. I'll be drafting Ashton Genty. Don't make any mistake about that. So, I really don't want to take much more Wandale, but it does make sense here. Let's get a big discount on Wandale Robinson. Let's just do it. CMC is 29 coming off double Achilles tendon. I think it's fair to have Genty over him. That's fair. Yeah. I'm not taking much of any CMC either. So, yeah. I have my guys that try to fade early on too, but I still mix them in at spots I think shouldn't be there when they fall. Yeah, fair enough. Like, again, if Ashton Genty falls to 20, I'll snap him up. I'll take him. Finally made it alive. Al Boogie, yeah, I think this is the first time I've seen you in the chat. OG of streamer chats. Appreciate you coming in, man. Appreciate you. Hopefully you caught that long-winded Genty fodder. I don't have any Puka. I don't know about that. Like, I like Puka. I'll draft Puka. That's for sure. Bugging a little bit. I'm also not asking you to change what you do. Yeah, appreciate that. No, again, like, no, I don't disagree with you either. Like, I do disagree, but I'm not going to say you're wrong, like, at all. I'll never tell anyone they're wrong. Not even hit them with the gritty. I won't even tell Mike Bolduc that he's wrong, right? He's not wrong. It's just a different, take. Like, It's I'm not saying you're wrong. I just disagree. So even Super Supreme here at the end of the draft, who just drafted Aaron Rodgers and Deontay Johnson. I'm not going to say he's wrong. We just all it's fine to disagree. Absolutely. Show me a room where Cody and Pat are both in the same room. Do we look alike? Is that what you're getting at? I don't think we look alike. Maybe like the beard, I guess. Do we have similar takes? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. What's up? What's up, everybody? I know your take on Genty Cody. Hello, heard it before. Yeah, it's heard around the world. It seems it's a hard take. It is what it is, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Yeah, we're all wrong or we're all right, right? Pat's takes are bad. I don't know. He's done pretty well. He's done really well in best ball. So he's got to have some good takes. I know you're just poking fun, but what are we gonna do here? We'll wait till Omega takes a pick. I definitely have to take some wide receivers to wrap this sucker up, which is fine. Need one more tight end, two more wide receivers, which is where the value's at. So I'm happy to wait to the end of the draft to take those guys. I know Pat's your guy. I'm kidding. I know you're joking. I know. But it is important to keep everyone accountable, though. So I'm expecting a lot of heat if Ashton Genty's like just a smash. Let's get Juwan Johnson. Definitely want more, and we'll wrap up our tight end room. Yeah, if Genty's a smash, I expect the chat to let me know, which is fine. But then I'll just switch my opinion in the summer. No, we'll see where he goes. That's the biggest thing is like we'll see where he goes. Again, if he goes to the Bears at 10 and he's the only guy they draft until like if they draft a 5th round, running back, I don't care. Then I'm going to be drafting. I'll be a hardcore Ashton Genty slappy after the draft. So we'll see. I mean, this is what I'm saying, man. I was 0% Marvin Harrison Jr. last year, 0%. So, yeah. Both Raiders and Bears are smash landing spots. Now, if the Saints take him, it's bad. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So that's another out for me, though, is what I'm saying. Like, that's another out. So there's just so many outs for me to be right. So more outs than it's worth the risk for me, if that makes sense. Like there's more ways that that's not a good pick, that he can't pay off ADP than he can, in my opinion. So that's just why I'm going to keep doing it. And this is a big thing. Yeah. Like, Pat drafted Chase Claypool this week. No, he didn't. If he did it, it was for like a bit or something like that. Yeah. It's hard for him to live up to his ADP. That's why I'm just kind of out on him. What do I want to do for my last 2 wide receivers? Let's get a little more Savion because he's obviously huge boom or bust. Do I want Savion now? Let's go Parker Washington. Let's bring in Parker Washington here. I think that obviously Cooper Kupp's not going to the Jags. I didn't think he ever was anyways. And I want to be at this price. I want to be at like 20% Parker Washington. I want to double where I'm at right now on Parker Washington. So let's bring him in. I think he's a really good click. And then I can maybe take a rookie. If Savion's still there, maybe I take him there. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably only single stacked with Burrow, which is whatever. I've double stacked Bo Nix, so that's what I'll like hope for in the playoffs is a Denver, I don't know, Denver, Jacksonville, Denver, Baltimore, Denver, Indianapolis, Denver Jets, Denver Chargers. Actually, there we go. Denver Chargers, Denver Bills, something like that. In week 17 would be cool. Like, I'm not really sure why this guy felt the need to bring Mike Gesicki up to 158. I would have reached, but not that far. That's for damn sure. And Hunter Henry, like, Interesting. Just panicked. Yeah, same guy who took two quarterbacks early and then just fell apart at wide receiver. Yeah, that's not a good strategy. But that's how she goes. Khalil Herbert sighting. Devin Singletary sighting. I told you this super supreme guy. I've seen him I've been in a bunch of rooms with him lately, and he does some fucked up shit. Like, just doesn't make a lot of sense. Aaron Rodgers, Deontay Johnson, Devin Singletary, and Khalil Herbert. There's last 4 picks. I don't know, man. I don't know. You have to sprinkle them in though, just in case. PBM, different story. Fair. That's your take. Cooper Kupp is dead. Yeah, it's a weird spot. I guess. Yeah, I guess. There's not a lot of meat on the bone for a backup outside of an injury in Indianapolis. But I mean, like, Jonathan Taylor's another guy who had 1 million fucking carries in college. So that's concerning. That's concerning at this point in his career. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he's healthy. He's a bigger guy. So that's kind of what I lean into. Plus he's had some injuries. So hopefully he's healthy this year. I'm banking on him being healthy this year. 2 injuries or 2 years where he was kind of injury riddled and then back to, what he has been. So hopefully he stays there this year at least. If he has another injury kind of riddled year, he's going to fall to like the 5th round next year. We'll see what happens with JT. Do I take Savion here? Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? Like, it's either Savion or my guy Kyle Williams. I haven't clicked Savion Williams in a long time, so let's bring him in. I do want to be in the 20s percent-wise, so let's just bring him in. Elijah Mitchell is interesting, yeah. Yeah, Kareem Hunt comes back, although that money means nothing. Kareem Hunt could still easily be cut from this team. Pacheco's obviously still there. I think it's less likely they draft anybody, especially any time early. Maybe they bring in like a 6th or 7th round running back, the Chiefs. But bringing back Kareem Hunt and then bringing in Elijah Mitchell, I think that really, hinders that as a landing spot for sure. I mean, I'm not making that pick, but it's defensible. Yeah, I'm not making the pick either. But again, you're never wrong, really. I'm not entering the bad KC running back sweepstakes again. Fair enough. I'm taking Pacheco at like pick 100 and something. My average pick for Pacheco is 100 and his ADP is like 90 something. So I'll take that. I was taking him. Yeah, pick 100. I have 24%. I was up to like 40% at one point when he was going at like pick 118, 112. Like I was clicking him there, and that's where almost all of my shares are. At least over pick 100 or right at it. So average. Oh, I guess it's right where he is now. So that works for me. But I haven't clicked him in like, I don't know, weeks really. Because he's going kind of around that ADP now. Yeah. Yeah, you could be right here, but if it's like premier, like, premium Cordarrelle Patterson, then I'm happy with that. I'm more than happy with that. He was very fantasy viable for a couple seasons. So if it works out, it works out. Let's take a look through the squads here and then we'll get out of here. Joe Burrow, Bo Nix. I'm happy with that. You have to stop at 2 if you're taking 2 quarterbacks under pick 100. So I'm happy with that. Jonathan Taylor, Breece Hall, Najee Harris, Bashal Tune, RJ Harvey, and Ray Day. This is a really dangerous running back room. Obviously, my wide receivers are a touch on the thin side, but I think it works with volume. So I'm happy, very happy with this running back room. CeeDee Lamb, Devontae Smith, Cortland Sutton, Travis Hunter, Jaden Higgins, Andre Yoshivas, Wan'Dale Robinson, Parker Washington, Savion Williams. Yeah, man, I'm happy with that. A lot of boomer bust. I think that's a high floor, which works. And then obviously these 3 are going to lead the charge, and then some boomer bust, spike week type of guys. So I'm more than happy and more than fine with this wide receiver room. Evan Ingram, Isaiah Likely. I don't love that click if I'm being honest, but there was really no one else that made sense at that point. So Yeah, but it works for the room. And then Juwan Johnson. So double stacked Denver, single stacked Cincinnati, unless I get lucky with, Jaden Higgins or Savion or one of these running backs, which is not out of the question. So that's fine. I'm happy with this team. I think it really works. Even out some exposures too, which I like. So that works. Happy with that. Let's start at the top. We got Paul in the 4 spot. Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert. I like that. 2 under 100. That's working. I mean, you could have added a third if you wanted, but I'm happy to stop at 2 when you can. So that definitely works. Bijan Robinson, Caleb Johnson, DJ Giddens, Marshawn Lloyd, Kareem Hunt, Brashard Smith, Trevor Etienne. This all works very nicely. Anchor running back, Bijan, obviously. A bunch of rookies, bunch of quality rookies. Second year back, I like. I'm pretty out on Jacobs at cost, but that means I kind of have to be in on Marshawn Lloyd, which I am. So that works. Pulled him up the board. Not the end of the world, because I think you needed running backs at the end of the draft. So you got to do what you got to do. Take who you want. That works. Lad McConkey, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, DK Metcalf, Marvin Mims, Trey Harris, Alec Pierce, Jalen Knoll, Mike Williams. All this makes sense and works. Double stack the Chargers. Second guy in a row to double stack McConkey and Mike Williams earlier in the stream. And then Caleb Williams with DJ Moore and Adunze. I like that. I got to get more of Moore and Adunze. I have a ton of Adunze, Cole Kmet, and a little bit of, DJ Moore, Adunze, DJ Moore, Kmet, but I need to get more DJ Moore and Rome Odunze with Caleb Williams. So that's something I'm working on flattening out. But this definitely works. You got your spike week guys in Pierce, Mims, DK even. Trey Harris is my wide receiver 2 in this class. I like Jalen Knoll a lot. This all works. TJ Hawkinson and Jake Ferguson probably wouldn't mind a third tight end, I guess. But where do you do it? Yeah, I mean, you'd have to sacrifice the double stack with Mike Williams to bring in a third tight end. Doesn't kill the squad. Might be a little on the thin side, but if you're going to be thin, tight end's the place to do it. So that makes sense. Quality team, quality build. Wouldn't expect anything else. Lowell Samo in this 5 spot, 3683, the classic 3683. Kyler Murray, Tua Tagovailoa. Putt Daddy, appreciate you coming in. Yeah, give it a watch back. Give it the like. That's all that matters. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, probably need 3 tight ends, but it's not the end. If you're going to be thin anywhere, tight end's kind of the okay place to do it, I guess. But back to Lowell Samo, Kyler, Tua, and Cam Ward. I mean, you got some value on Cam Ward, so that makes it okay. That works. The room definitely works. So there you go. Jahmyr Gibbs, Trevion Henderson, Trey Benson, Devin Neal, Blake Corum, and Austin Eckler. I like that. That works. Got the value on Blake Corum. That's pretty much the only time to take him naked without Kyron Williams is if you're getting a full round ADP, which is, that works. Bunch of dropping running backs. All the running back value. Get your spoon. There you go. I like this room a lot. That works. AJ Brown, Terry McLaurin, Tet McMillan, Chris Olave, Luther Burden, Isaiah Bond. I guess if you're going to click them, get 20 picks ADP value. That's fine. That's pretty much my only share. I got about 20 picks ADP value on them. So Adonai Mitchell, again, a lot of value for Lolsimo. A lot of value at running back and wide receiver. And then Michael Wilson to pair with Kyler, Jonnu Smith, David Njoku, Will Disley. Obviously, we're going for Cam Ward on the Browns. Double stacked Tua. Nope. Which is fine. So single stacked quarterbacks, which is completely fine as long as, you're going for the David Njoku. Will Disley, sure. I mean, it's just as good a click as anyone at the end of the draft at tight end. So this will definitely play. Don't need to force in double stacks, especially with a guy like Kyler. Definitely don't need to force that in. Got the value on Jonnu. I was potentially going to click him there. and then brought up Tua. Kind of fell behind at quarterback, I feel like. So it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. It's harder to just double stack, triple stack if you've fallen behind. So it'll still play. It'll definitely work. Omega, Patrick Mahomes, big value, and then Geno Smith. That's really tight to stop at 2. Yeah, I don't hate that take. Let's go back to Lolsimo. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Obviously, it's anchored Gibbs. It depends on Trevion's landing spot, really, is what it is, right? Like that's that. If he goes to like the Raiders and he's on his own, then this is more than fine. But if he's a 1A, 1B type of situation, then yeah, it's going to be a little on the thin side. So I don't disagree with that. Omega King, Mahomes and Geno, that's thin. I don't think I need to tell you that. I think you know that's a little thin to stop at 2. Doesn't mean it can't work. You're probably going to get Mahomes every week, at least like that 15, 17 points out of Mahomes. So I think you know that's a little on the thin side, but let's see what else you got. Kenny Walker, Travis Etienne, DeAndre Swift, huge value on both. So I'm fine with those clicks if you're getting that kind of value. Rashad White, again, tons of value. Ollie Gordon got some value. Justice Hill, Raheem Mostert, Ty Johnson. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with throwing volume at this. So that'll make sense. Raheem Mostert with Geno. I like Kenny Walker a ton, and you got tons of value there, actually. That's nice. Tons of value in your running back room. Throw some volume at it. Works. Amon-Ra, Marvin Harrison Jr., Xavier Worthy, Jalen Waddle, Emeka Ibuka, Darnell Mooney, Keenan Allen. Some more value. This will work with Xavier Worthy. Did you get Noah Gray? Sure, yeah. I don't mind that. Brock Bowers, that's what I was thinking you're kind of going to do. Had to kind of bring in another, a Geno with Brock Bowers there. Got Mostert. Trey Tucker would have been on the board for you. I'd probably take Trey Tucker over like Ty Johnson, just in this case where it makes sense. But this works. I mean, you're top heavy, so that's fine. It'll definitely play. Brock Bowers, Cole Kmet, Noah Gray. Yeah, at least you took a huge break at tight end, so I'm okay with 3 there. So definitely a different build. I think you would say that for your portfolio. 2, 8, 7, 3. Definitely a bit of a different build for your portfolio, I'd imagine, but it'll play. It'll play. Double stack KC. Double stacked Vegas. Keenan Allen doesn't really make sense for Vegas. Ibuka could make sense, but I don't think it makes sense for where they pick unless he falls into their lap in the second round. But yeah, I mean, it'll work out. It'll play. Is there anyone else we have? Since we're talking about them, let's look at this Super Supreme, guys. 4772. Prescott, May, Stafford. Rodgers is so unnecessary on this team. That just doesn't make sense whatsoever. I would be stopping at 3. I doubt he has much for stacks, but let's take a look. Ashton Genty, James Cook, Amari Hampton, J.K. Dobbins, Isaac Guerrero, Devin Singletary, Khalil Herbert. Not necessary to have 7 there when you're this top heavy at running back. I don't think it's necessary to bring in Shakir or Singletary. Maybe 1, okay, or just a better option than both, but whatever. I think you can get away with only 6. Tyreek, Ricky Pearsall. Wow, this is thin, hey? Tyreek Hill, Ricky Pearsall, Jacoby Myers, Matthew Golden, Cooper Kupp, Jalen Coker, Deontay Johnson, Kincaid, and Strange. Yeah. I told you this guy's keep an eye out for Super Supreme in your rooms because it's a little wonky. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Any stacks in here? Whole bunch of nothing stack wise. Not even taking the just good players, you know? Like interesting. Yeah, anyways, keep an eye out for Super Supreme in your chat in your rooms. He's an interesting one, but let's take a look through the chat here. Definitely depending on Henderson. Yeah, the landing spot will make all the difference in the world there. Am I thin at RB in the third? What's your username, Kelly? I don't know this one. There we go in the 3 spot. Jeez, didn't just lurking until the end of the draft. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. I didn't know you're in the chat or in the draft. Let's take a look. Jared Goff, Jordan Love, JJ McCarthy. Yeah, that'll work. It's close to stop at 2 with Goff and Love, but I don't. It's fine to bring in a third as well. I'm fine with that. Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Quinshon Judkins, Cam Scatabo, Tyler Algier, and Raheem Rocket Sanders. I don't mind that at all. That'll definitely play paired Jacobs and Montgomery with the running or quarterbacks. Don't hate it, but let's see what else he did. I love me some Judkins, Cam Scatabo at a discount's okay. Little drop. That'll work. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. If you're going to do that, I'm not really high on the Vikings at all this year as far as, let's share this again. Jeez. As far as with JJ McCarthy, I'm just not high on the Vikings. I have 0% Jordan Addison. I have like 4% Justin Jefferson. But if you're going to do it the full stack with JJ McCarthy. So only time I would ever do that personally would be as if I'm double stacking Jefferson, Addison with McCarthy. So you did. I like that you did that. Jameson Williams paired up with Montgomery. Who's your other? Jordan Love. Josh Downs, Romeo Dobbs, Cedric Tillman, Jalen Royals, Jack Besh, Tim Patrick re-signed. I don't mind that. McBride and Higbee, I'd probably bring in a third tight end with this. Like obviously McBride's your guy, but Higbee's pretty thin, injury risk, right? So I would bring in a third tight end there. For who? Probably Tim Patrick. Like I probably would have just went Jameson Williams. Montgomery fell, so that's okay. Probably for Tim Patrick, bringing a third tight end. What was your question? Am I thin at RB? I don't think so. I think that's perfectly fine. Jacobs, Montgomery, Judkins, Scatabo, Algier. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's perfectly fine. I wouldn't call that thin at all. I would say your tight end room is thin, which is, again, if you're going to be thin, that's the place to kind of do it. So, yeah. Not exactly like pass catching running back. How many catches? I think he had like 30, low 30s for Jacobs. Mid 30s, 36. Yeah, that's not bad to pair him with Love. I don't mind that at all. I don't even mind doing the Montgomery with Goff, but you got to get one pass catcher, which you did. I don't think Tim Patrick's necessary, so I probably would have went tight end instead of Tim Patrick here. But other than that, I think it's a quality squad. Correlated. I think it works. Need more wide receivers, maybe 12. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. Stop at Garendo. Oh, that's what we're saying. Yeah, you could have stopped at Garendo, but if you wanted to add one more, I think it would have been fine for the guy. Add one more or one of those two. Big will always be best 3 QBs, 3 tight ends. Yeah, I don't disagree. If I can stop at 2 quarterbacks, I like to. I don't typically stop at 2 tight ends. Definitely not this year. I've been talking about that a little bit. I don't think there's any scenario where you can stop at 2 tight ends realistically. There's a couple, but I think that'd be a waste of draft capital. That's not out of the question. Like if Rodgers does go to Vikings, like JJ McCarthy's dead, right? So yeah, it is a good team. I like Montgomery too. I think there's a ton of value on him at that point in the draft. So yeah, if you're in the chat and you like the content, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're pushing towards 500. We'll do a 12-hour live stream if we get there. I probably got to schedule that in regardless. They're getting closer by the day. So I think we will, but we got to get there by the NFL draft. So help me get there. Hit that like button if you don't mind. Helps the engagement, helps push it out to some new people, new subscribers, stuff like that. But we're going to get out of here. We'll be back probably Monday night is when we'll do a stream again. Yeah, have yourselves a great weekend. Like I always say on Off the Schneid, if you're afraid to be wrong, you'll never be right. especially on that Ashton Genty take. Appreciate you guys. Have yourselves a great weekend. We'll see you Monday night. Peace.